The oak tree stood 40 feet tall on Maple Street in Eugene, Oregon. November wind rattled the bare branches. Near the top, wedged between two narrow forks, a gray tabby cat clung to the bark, her body pressed flat against the trunk. She'd been there for 72 hours. Her name was Misty, and she was dying. From the ground, you could barely see her. Just a small, trembling shadow among the branches. But if you listened carefully, past the traffic and the wind, you could hear her crying. Weak, hoarse meows that got quieter with each passing hour. Sarah Mitchell, 17 years old, stood beneath the tree that Thursday afternoon, staring up at the cat she'd been watching disappear slowly for 3 days. "We have to get her down," Sarah said. Her mother, standing beside her with a phone pressed to her ear, shook her head. "The fire department won't come. I already called. They said they don't do cat rescues anymore." Sarah kept staring up at Misty. The cat had stopped moving. Just speaking of keeping stories alive, help us continue by hitting that subscribe button. But to understand why Misty was up there in the first place, you need to know how cats end up trapped in trees, and why they can't save themselves. Cats are extraordinary climbers. Their curved, retractable claws hook into bark like natural climbing gear. Their powerful hind legs propel them upward with remarkable efficiency. Evolution designed them perfectly for going up. But evolution played a cruel joke. It never taught them how to come back down. Unlike squirrels or raccoons, which can rotate their hind ankles 180 degrees and descend headfirst, most cats lack that flexibility. Only 3 wild cat species, margays, marbled cats, and clouded leopards, possess this ability. Domestic cats don't. To descend, they must back down the tree, claws facing upward, unable to see where they're going. It's terrifying. Most never learn how. Misty hadn't learned. She was an indoor cat who'd slipped out the front door of her owner's house 3 days earlier, chasing a squirrel across the yard. The chase had been instinctive, thrilling. She'd followed the squirrel straight up the oak tree, higher and higher, focused only on the hunt. By the time the squirrel disappeared into a hole near the top, Misty was 35 feet off the ground with no idea how to get back down. She tried climbing down headfirst. Her claws couldn't grip properly in that position. She'd started to slide, felt herself falling, and scrambled back up to safety. Then she'd frozen. For 3 days, she'd been stuck in that fork, too scared to move, too weak to cry for help loud enough for anyone to notice. Her owner, an elderly woman named Dorothy Chen, lived alone 2 blocks away. She'd been searching the neighborhood frantically, putting up flyers, calling animal shelters. She had no idea her cat was dying slowly in a tree just down the street. Sarah had first noticed Misty on Tuesday morning while walking to school. She'd heard the faint meowing, looked up, and spotted the cat pressed against the trunk. She'd knocked on nearby doors, trying to find the owner. No one knew whose cat it was. She'd called animal control. They said they'd send someone, but no one came. By Wednesday, Misty's cries had grown weaker. Sarah brought tuna, leaving it at the base of the tree, hoping the smell would lure her down. The tuna sat untouched. By Thursday morning, Misty had barely moved in hours. Her eyes were half closed. Her breathing was shallow. Dehydration was setting in. After 72 hours without water, a cat's body begins to shut down. The blood thickens. The heart struggles to pump. Kidneys start to fail. Misty was entering the critical phase. If she didn't get fluids soon, even a rescue wouldn't save her. Sarah knew this. She'd spent the previous night researching cat physiology, tree rescue techniques, anything that might help. She'd learned that cats can survive over a week in trees under ideal conditions, drinking dew from their own fur. But November in Oregon wasn't ideal. It had rained twice. The temperature dropped below 40 degrees at night. Misty was soaked, cold, and growing weaker by the hour. "I'm going up," Sarah said. Her mother grabbed her arm. "Sarah, that's 40 feet. You could fall. She's going to die if someone doesn't help her. Then we'll find a professional. A tree service or—" "Mom, look at her. She doesn't have time." They stood there for a moment, mother and daughter, both staring up at the small gray shape that had stopped meowing entirely. Sarah's mother closed her eyes. When she opened them, she nodded once. "I'll spot you," And if you feel unsafe for even a second, you come back down. Sarah had climbed trees her whole childhood. Not like this, never this high, but she understood the basics. Weight distribution. 3 points of contact. Test every branch before trusting it with your full weight. She borrowed a ladder from a neighbor, a 12-foot aluminum extension ladder that got her to the first major branch. After that, it was just her and the tree. The climb took 20 minutes. Each movement was deliberate, calculated. She tested every handhold, every foothold. Her mother stood below, watching, her phone ready to call 911 if anything went wrong. The wind picked up, swaying the branches. Sarah wrapped her arms around the trunk and held on, waiting for it to pass. At 30 feet, she could see Misty clearly for the first time. The cat's fur was matted and dirty. Her eyes were sunken. Her ribs showed through her sides. She looked like something already half dead. "Hey, Misty," Sarah whispered. "I'm here to help you." The cat's eyes opened slightly. She let out a sound, not quite a meow, more like a breath with voice behind it. Sarah reached the fork where Misty was wedged. The space was tight, barely wide enough for the cat's body. Misty's legs dangled on either side, her claws dug deep into the bark. She wasn't just scared. She was physically stuck. "Okay, we're going to get you out of there." Sarah had brought a canvas tote bag, the kind you'd use for groceries, slung across her shoulder. She'd lined it with a soft fleece blanket. She reached for Misty gently, talking the whole time, keeping her voice low and calm. The cat hissed weakly, but didn't have the strength to resist. Sarah worked carefully, gently loosening Misty's claws from the bark one at a time. The cat whimpered but didn't fight. Once her claws were free, Sarah lifted her slowly out of the fork. Misty weighed almost nothing. Sarah could feel every bone beneath the matted fur. She placed Misty in the tote bag, wrapping the fleece around her small body. The cat settled into the warmth, too exhausted to protest. Sarah secured the bag's straps and began the descent. By the way, what you're seeing here is the condensed version. Members see the full rescue with unedited footage and follow-up visits. Alright, back to the story. Coming down was harder than going up. Sarah had to move slowly, testing each branch before transferring her weight, the tote bag pressed carefully against her chest. She could feel Misty's heartbeat through the canvas. Fast, irregular, barely there. Halfway down, a branch cracked under Sarah's left foot. She heard it snap, felt herself drop. Her right hand shot out, grabbed a higher branch, held on. Below, her mother screamed. Sarah hung there for a moment, breathing hard, then found new footing and kept descending. When her feet touched the top rung of the ladder, her mother was already climbing up to meet her, hands reaching for the bag. Together, they made it to the ground. Sarah's legs shook as she stepped off the ladder. Her hands were scraped and bleeding from the bark. She didn't notice. She opened the tote bag. Misty lay curled in the fleece, eyes closed, breathing shallow. "We need to get her to a vet. Now." They drove to Willamette Valley Veterinary Hospital, Sarah holding the bag in her lap, one hand resting gently on Misty's small head. At the clinic, Dr. Amanda Chen, no relation to Dorothy Chen, though they'd find that coincidence remarkable later, took one look at Misty and moved into emergency mode. How long was she in the tree? 3 days. Dr. Chen's expression darkened. She carried Misty into the exam room, Sarah and her mother following. The examination took less than 5 minutes. Severe dehydration. Body temperature 95.8 degrees, well below the normal range of 100 to 102.5. Heart rate elevated and irregular. Signs of acute renal stress. "We need to get fluids into her immediately," Dr. Chen said. She inserted a catheter into Misty's foreleg, started in 4 drips of warmed saline solution. The fluid began flowing into Misty's collapsed veins, slowly rehydrating her blood, giving her kidneys something to work with. They moved her to a heated kennel lined with thermal blankets, monitoring her vitals constantly. For the first hour, Misty didn't respond. She lay motionless, her breathing shallow and labored. Her body temperature climbed slowly, 96, 97, 98. At 99 degrees, her eyes opened. At 100, she lifted her head. At 101, she meowed. A real meow this time, not the weak rasp from before. Dr. Chen smiled. She's fighting. While Misty stabilized, Dr. Chen ran a scanner over her shoulder, checking for a microchip. The scanner beeped. A 15-digit number appeared on the screen. Within 10 minutes, they'd contacted Dorothy Chen, who'd been searching frantically since Tuesday morning. She arrived at the clinic 20 minutes later, out of breath, tears streaming down her face. Misty. Oh, Misty. The reunion happened in the recovery area. Dorothy knelt beside the heated kennel, reaching in with trembling hands. Misty crawled toward her, weak but determined, and pressed her head against Dorothy's palm. The old woman sobbed, gathering her cat carefully into her arms. I thought I'd lost you. I thought you were gone. Sarah stood in the doorway, watching. Her mother put an arm around her shoulders. Dr. Chen approached them quietly. What you did today saved her life. Another 12 hours and we wouldn't have been able to bring her back. I just couldn't leave her up there. Most people would have. Over the next week, Misty recovered at the veterinary hospital. The rehydration therapy continued for 3 days, slowly restoring her electrolyte balance and kidney function. She was treated for mild hypothermia and a respiratory infection she'd developed from exposure. She gained back the weight she'd lost, her fur regained its shine, and slowly, her personality returned. Your moment to help is easy, just hit subscribe so we can keep sharing rescue stories like Misty's. Dorothy visited every day, sitting beside Misty's kennel for hours, talking to her, reminding her that she was loved and safe. On the 8th day, Dr. Chen gave them the all-clear. Misty could go home. The bill came to just over $2,000. Dorothy was on a fixed income, Social Security and a small pension. She had $600 in savings. She looked at the bill, looked at Misty, and started to cry. I can't afford this. But I can't lose her. Sarah's mother, who'd been standing nearby, stepped forward. Let me help. Oh, I couldn't possibly. Yes, you could. My daughter risked her life for this cat. The least we can do is make sure she gets to go home healthy. Between Sarah's mother, Dr. Chen waiving part of the treatment fees, and a small fundraiser Sarah organized at her high school, they covered the bill. Misty went home to Dorothy's house on a gray Saturday afternoon, riding in a proper cat carrier this time, wrapped in the same fleece blanket Sarah had used to bring her down from the tree. At home, Dorothy kept Misty inside. No more unsupervised outdoor time. No more squirrel chasing. Misty didn't seem to mind. She spent her days curled in sunny spots by the window, watching birds through the glass, content to be safe and warm. Sarah visited sometimes, stopping by after school. Misty would recognize her immediately, running to greet her, purring loudly, rubbing against her legs. Dorothy would make tea and they'd sit together, talking about ordinary things while Misty dozed in Sarah's lap. If you don't want to miss transformations like this, hit that subscribe button. But Misty's story isn't just about one cat or one brave teenager. It's about a problem that happens more often than most people realize. Every year, thousands of cats get stuck in trees. Many come down on their own eventually. Many don't. Some fall and get injured. Some become too weak to hold on and die from the fall or from exposure. Some, like Misty, are rescued just in time. The common wisdom, cats always come down when they're ready, is dangerously misleading. Cats can and do die in trees. They die from dehydration, from exposure to weather, from exhaustion, from the stress-induced liver condition called hepatic lipidosis that develops when cats don't eat for more than 48 hours. The idea that they'll figure it out on their own causes people to delay intervention until it's too late. Fire departments, despite their appearance in countless cartoons and old television shows, generally don't respond to cat rescues anymore. Their resources are reserved for human emergencies. Animal control agencies are often understaffed and unable to respond quickly. That leaves homeowners scrambling to find tree services, arborists, or specialized cat rescue volunteers, if they can afford them and if those services exist in their area. Prevention is the best solution. Keeping cats indoors protects them from tree incidents, along with traffic accidents, predator attacks, and exposure to disease. For cats who do go outside, supervised time and secure enclosures can provide outdoor enrichment without the risks. Teaching cats to navigate smaller climbing structures safely can help them develop the backward descent skills they'll need if they ever face a real tree emergency. But when prevention fails, when a cat ends up stranded and terrified 30 feet above the ground, someone has to make a choice. Wait and hope. Call for help that might not come. Or, like Sarah, decide that a life is worth the risk. Sarah didn't consider herself a hero. When people at school heard what she'd done and started calling her brave, she'd shrug it off. Anyone would have done it, she'd say. But that wasn't true. Most people walked past that tree for 3 days. Most people heard the crying and kept going. Sarah stopped. She listened. She acted. 6 months after the rescue, on a warm May afternoon, Sarah stood beneath that same oak tree on Maple Street. The branches were full of green leaves now, swaying gently in the spring breeze. She looked up at the fork where Misty had been trapped, remembering the climb, the fear, the weight of that small, dying body in her arms. Her phone buzzed. A text from Dorothy, "Misty says hello." Attached was a photo of the gray tabby sprawled in a patch of sunlight, fat and content, eyes half closed in perfect feline bliss. Sarah smiled, typed back a reply, and kept walking. Behind her, the tree stood tall and quiet, holding its branches up to the sky, keeping its secrets about the girl who climbed and the cat who survived. If you want to support more rescues like this one, membership link is below. We'll see you in the next story. Sometimes courage looks like scaling a 40-foot oak tree in the wind. Sometimes it looks like an elderly woman crying over a vet bill and strangers stepping forward to help. Sometimes it looks like a teenager who saw suffering and refused to look away. And sometimes, it looks like a small gray cat who held on for 72 hours, waiting for someone to notice she was there.